but I don't know how to start it because I don't want to say like, hi guys, welcome back to Off the Shelf. But just jump in. That's what I wanted to do because it like sounds more organic.
We keep all this in.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Well, that's what the editor did last time because I was saying, oh, my mouth hurts from smiling so much, kept it in. I was like, wait, I kind of like it. It was kind of fun.
Just talk about last time and then.
That's where I think we should start too.
Okay.
Cool. Okay.
Let's start.
Great. So last night, what did we get up to after the event?
Well, we went and had a single drink.
Yeah.
And we
one
were
drink and we were like,
it went straight to my head.
yeah.
And then that's why when we walked outside, I was like, I'm not that cold.
No, but last night I found out we were the same person because you took one sip of alcohol and you're like, oh, I can taste the alcohol. And I was like, I was just thinking
Literally,
that.
I'm like,
Yeah.
ew, there's alcohol in this? Like, wait a minute.
We don't drink a lot. We just
don't.
like one and we're good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so after our event that we did, we went out for one drink and then we tried to go to Nando's.
Yes.
And they so graciously told us that chicken would not be ready for 40 minutes.
Which was crazy because they were closing in like 20.
Yeah, I know.
So I was like, well, you guys
I don't
like go home.
If we said, okay, we're going to wait, do we think they would have been like, okay, never mind, we're actually closed?
I feel like in 40 minutes they would have been like, yeah, there's no chicken. By the way.
I don't think so. And
They're
then
all gone.
our second option was Chick-fil-A, which was also closing in 5 minutes since we got there. But
Yeah.
we
But it was
got
good.
chicken.
We offered to stack the chairs for that.
We did.
On the clock.
Well, because she came over and she was like, yeah, we're actually closed. And we're like, yes, we're going. We just
Yes.
needed chicken.
So sorry about that. Yeah. No, it was fabulous. I had such a good time.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was really fun.
Okay, well then let's dive into things.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Off the Shelf.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Lauren Roberts. Now I can actually do the official part. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Let's like jump into things on like how you became an author so young. Like, tell me about your journey of how you started writing.
Yes. Okay. So here's the lore. I always loved writing. I had a digital camera growing up that I stole from my brother, and I would write scripts and then go act them out in my basement. And it was really embarrassing. But that was like my first creative endeavor, I remember.
Okay.
Like I loved doing that. And I was the kid in school who, if we had to write an essay, I'm writing like 3 extra pages because I just loved it.
I struggled with that too. They were like, there's a word count. And I was like, well, how many words can I push it by?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just do it. I'm like, hey, here you go. I'm a good student. Sorry. Sorry.
But then I would
that.
get marks taken off because they're like, it's too long. And I was like, but did you read it? It's like worth it.
Right,
though.
exactly. So I loved writing, but I didn't think, I was like, there's no way that's in the cards. Like, how on earth do you become an author? And so some time went by. I started on TikTok, just strictly reading books and being like, guys, read this one. I love this book. And for whatever reason, people started following me. Don't know why.
Well, of course. Okay, so Lauren and I's lore is that I don't actually remember when we followed. I think, okay, well, you followed me because I was posting about the ice cream stuff. But I followed you because you were so passionate about Dance of Thieves. And I was like, fine, I'll read it.
That makes me so
and
happy.
I loved it. Like, genuinely. And I wasn't reading a lot. I don't know. I don't remember being like, okay, I need to go read this book. Like, because everyone's talking, but I saw you talking about it. I don't think I was reading a ton of romantasy at that point, but I loved that book to this day.
I'm so glad because I hear like some people, the beginning is a little confusing in a way. Not really though. I didn't find, because it's just fantasy.
Yeah,
like,
that's what it is. It's fantasy.
Confusing,
it's a little bit confusing
you know?
as you're getting used to the world building.
Right. So a lot of people would tell me like, oh, I couldn't get into it. And I'm like, just push through. It's so good. And we talked about this last night, how Dance of Thieves was like before its time.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It was romantasy before romantasy was a thing.
Romantasy is like this new word that
Yeah.
I never used in the beginning of book talk days or even like when I was reading as a kid.
Yeah, me either. I think it really is like TikTok kind of coined it and now it's like a whole genre on its own. But Dance of Thieves. Another one that I read because of you was The Shadows Between Us, which you were talking about as like, this is like a good to like dip your toes into fantasy, but like it's kind of just for the vibe. It is. It's just a good time, which you know what? That is kind of what romantasy is.
Oh, it was so fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Like we're here to have a good time. And that was the first book that got me back into reading. Like obviously I'd grown up, like I read Harry Potter and like all like the teen books. And then when I hit high school, I kind of like fell off. And then no, not Dance of Thieves. It was The Shadows Between Us. It's a standalone.
I haven't read the second one. I would just want to leave it at that.
I know. I'm like kind of scared.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know if the vibes are going to be the same like 5 years later or something.
I agree.
Okay, so like how did then you start to write Powerless? When did that like initial spark happen?
Yeah, so I was on TikTok. I was 18 and I went on a live and I read something that I wrote for a college class, and I don't know why, because that's like really weird, and I would never do that again. Like, I don't know. I was like, guys, do you want to hear this?
Do you ever go live nowadays or no?
I don't really, which I should, because I do enjoy it, like having that face-to-face kind of interaction.
It's a bit intimidating sometimes because you never know what you're gonna get.
Yes.
But it's fun. Like I did it for a while too, and then
stopped. I feel like I kind of like fell off of it just because of like the books. I'm like, guys, I gotta go feed my cats. I have to turn this book in so I can like pay the bills. So I would like to do it again. But I had read something and they were like, you should write a book. And I literally laughed at the camera. I was like, I don't know how to write a book. The biggest thing I had written was like a 15-page short story. Like I'd never done anything that length. And then 2 days later, I had a shower thought for Powerless. And it was basically just the chosen trope. And this is nothing profound. Like this has been done. But it was the chosen trope, but flipped. So instead of like the main character being the one to find her power and like save the kingdom, it was the opposite, where everyone around her has a power and she's the only one who doesn't. Yeah. So she's like not special in any way. And that was the initial idea. And then from there, I hopped out of the shower and I went back.
This was an actual shower thought.
I was literally, I remember it so vividly. I was like in my parents' house in the shower, like, wait, and what if I did this? And I like ran out of the shower, scribbled down notes, which I still have. Like I have my initial thoughts. And then I went back on TikTok live and was like, guys, what do you think of this? Wow. And I think it was like the same 200 people in there. And they were like, yes, do this, like add this trope. There was a girl named Peyton in the live who she was like, I've never seen my name in a book before. And I was like, can I use it? And she said yes. And we're like still mutuals and we still like talk every once in a while. And so that was how Powerless was born. Yeah. And then I just wrote it in like 3 months and managed to self-publish when I was around 19. It was crazy.
How did you self-publish it? Like, how does that even work?
I still don't know.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know how it happened. I was in school working in the library and I'd finished the book. I worked with a freelance editor who was fantastic. But I was like, what now? Because I really didn't want to query for an agent, go the typical route. Because honestly, I was lazy. I was like, I don't want to wait. Like, I just want to get it out there. But now I'm realizing that self-publishing is not for the lazy people either. Because it's still just as much work. Like, it is a lot. And so I ended up calling my mom in the library. And I was like, can I come home and like try and publish this book? And shockingly, she said yes. I really didn't think she was going to. So I came home. I was working. And literally Googling how to self-publish a book. I was on WikiHow. I'm not even kidding, with like the sketches of like the girls holding a manuscript, like step 1, write the book. And I'm like, okay, well, that's done. And I just learned about copyrights and like Library of Congress, ISBN, like all these things. I had no idea what they were and fumbled my way through it. Don't know how. I had worked with an incredible like freelance cover design artist, and the cover for Powerless is the same one that we developed there. So my publisher now kept it, and they kept everything in the book too. They just kind of got it to a bigger audience. Yeah. So I just somehow figured it out in about like 2 months. I pulled everything together and it was out for like 3 months and people were buying it. Like I could not believe
wish
it.
I had a copy of the original self-published because it's a little bit off, but I was like, I want it.
I have some.
Really?
I'll get you some.
I'm coming to Michigan.
You have to go to Michigan though. Before, when I started working with SNS, they were like, okay, you got to pull the self-published books down, obviously, you know? And my fiance, he was like, you need to purchase 25 copies of the book. And they're in my parents' basement, like off the ground. He was like, don't leave them on the ground in case there's a flood. He made sure he gave them very strict instructions of like off the ground in a Tupperware bucket. Like, so I have 25 of like the crooked cover and I have some paperback ones. And it's
paperback.
Yeah, there was paperback which is kind of crazy. I did both.
Do you have a preference when you're reading? Do you like paperback or hardback?
I feel like the right answer is hardcover. Okay. I feel like, but I'm going to say paperback.
So I like paperback for romance novels. And okay, preference is like probably paperback. It just like makes my life easier. But I don't mind a hardcover in a fantasy one for some reason.
That makes sense though.
Yeah. Because it just like feels like fantasy. Yes. Whereas like a romance, I'm like, that's a hard pass. I don't want to read a romance in a hardcover. Nor are they often published hardcover, except for like I think Emily Henry's newer books are now hardcover because those are more like women's fiction a little bit.
Right. No, that makes sense though. Now that you're saying that.
Fantasy books just like make sense as a hardcover
and then romance is going to be softcover. Like, yeah, I completely agree. But when I'm reading, like the hardcovers are so clunky. So I want to be able to like.
Do you take the dust jacket off?
I do.
No, really? I don't. I have never taken a dust jacket off in my entire life.
What?
No, because I use the thing as a bookmark, which kind of messes with the like. As you can see, like Powerless is a little bit off because I used it.
I know, that's so funny.
I used the dust jacket as a bookmark for it, and it pulled it too much.
Oh, so it stretched her out a little bit?
Well, it just like made it off-center a little bit. I was like, God damn it.
No, because now I'll get you the off-centered hardcover.
Yeah, there we go.
Which is printed on. And someone asked me that. They were like, would you ever print on the cover on like a hardcover? It's called like the Wibbelin is like the hard part. Yeah. Which I just learned. Did not know that.
Well, these ones have a little bit, do they not? Fearless does.
They have like a stencil thing.
Okay.
But in the self-published, it was like literally I just printed the cover on the Wibbelin because it was way cheaper to do that.
Oh, there's no dust jacket on it.
There's no dust jacket. Because I was like, I'm not going to pay more money to do the dust jacket. And people ask me like, are you going to do that in the future? Because they love it. Because then you don't have to take the dust jacket off and you still sorry,
it's okay.
And you still have the cover. So I'm like,
interesting. See, but I keep it on. I keep the dust jacket on every time.
That is so
because I'm gonna lose it. Where do you put it when you're not reading?
That is really true. Sometimes like if books have really gorgeous like foiled edges underneath or things like that, I'll take the dust jacket off and just like shove it behind the bookshelf. So
gotcha.
It's like crinkled.
Okay.
But yeah, I normally just sometimes I'll slide the dust jacket just back on the shelf to pretend like the book is still there.
Oh.
And then when I'm done, we're not liking that.
No, that could work.
Okay.
Because I also don't like when there's an empty space on my bookshelf, I'm like, okay, I'm going to put a random book there. I just got new bookshelves in my room, like literally just threw because I had so many just like on my floor in stacks, which was like kind of a cute vibe. But I'm like, if I need anything from this bottom stack, I'm screwed.
Right.
So I just recently bought a new bookshelf and I just put that they're so disorganized. And it's aggravating me to no end.
Me too. My bookshelves are so ugly. And so it's crazy to me when I see the people who have like the perfectly even, like all the books are the same size.
Or it's like color coded. I'm like, whoa. How do you organize your books right now? Or do you?
I'm like, right now, there's nothing good about it, I fear. But I will say I put like my favorite books towards the top. Like
I put them at eye level.
Yes. Because my bookshelves are kind of shorter. I got them off like Facebook Marketplace. And so they're kind of short. So I put my favorites on like the top 2 shelves and then the rest. But it's embarrassing because I have so many of my own books.
That's not embarrassing.
Well,
put them out there.
I'm like, I have like 2 shelves just for my own stuff and it feels so narcissistic. I'm like, guys, I swear, like this is only because I need to put them somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, but
do you ever get like imposter syndrome? Like looking at them being like, you wrote those books. You created this entire world.
It honestly, I need to see a therapist. Like at the end of the day. Because I'm like, it doesn't feel like me.
Yeah.
Even when I'm doing events, like last night when we had that event, it just feels like I'm there. It's not like those people are there.
They're there for you.
Right. Which even sounds so weird to say. Like it really doesn't feel that way. Or like when we get numbers for like, oh, here's first week of sales. I'm like, who wrote that? Who did that? You know, like it doesn't feel like me at all.
Yeah. Which is as of yesterday, we found out that Fearless was the number 1 best-selling on New York Times and on Canadian bestsellers.
Which is crazy.
Did it beat out the Hunger Games book? The new Hunger Games book.
Which is
holy.
Insane. I did not think that was going to happen. And now I'm like freaking out. I couldn't believe it. Because literally we were talking yesterday when it hit #1 in Canada, and I was like, oh, I don't think it's going to do it in the US. And then like 5 minutes later, they were like, it did it in the US. So that was insane.
That's incredible.
I can't believe it. Again, it's one of those things where like, I know I can feel the gratefulness in my body, and I'm like so honored. Yeah. But like there's a weird disconnect of like, it doesn't feel like it's me. So strange. Hey, maybe we need a therapy session.
Has it gotten better over the years, like since you like first self-published to like now?
I would say,
I mean, the books have only gotten more popular since then.
Which is crazy, because I remember obviously when I self-published, people were buying it and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then when it got republished by Simon & Schuster, like the first couple months, it was like, oh yeah, like it's doing well. And it wasn't until like 3 months later that it started to really like blow up in a sense. Okay. And so it felt really strange. Like again, I feel like it doesn't feel real. It's very out of body in a sense. Okay. But I'm obviously like amazed by all of this. I can't even believe it.
When you were first writing Powerless, did you know how the trilogy was? Did you know it was going to be a trilogy? Did you know about the novellas? Kind of what was your thought process like first writing it?
Yes. Okay. I knew it was going to be a trilogy. Okay. If I could even get there, because I was like, who knows? People might hate the first one and I'll never finish the series. So I knew it was going to be a trilogy. And I knew what Reckless was supposed to be. Fearless was like this terrifying, daunting book that I was like, I'll deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always knew how I wanted the series to end. Okay. So the ending has not changed. So that's always been like in my brain, like that's what's going to happen. How we got there has definitely, it's been a little, we've changed some things up for sure.
Yeah.
But I had no intention of doing novellas. That was truly like my publishers came to me and they gave me the option of like, would you be interested in writing some novellas? And like, is there any story that you want to expand on? And I was like, yes.
Adina.
Like I want to talk about Adina. Yeah. Because I saw that there was very much a divide of the people who had read Powerless. Like some people really loved Adina and they felt so connected to her. And then other people didn't because she wasn't in the book that much, you know? So I was like, I'm gonna write powerful, and I'm gonna hurt some people.
And it's also so cute. I love the little size of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also differentiate. Like it's a novella, like it takes place in Powerless.
Yes,
it's not like an in between or anything.
Right. It takes place. It's actually a tandem read with Powerless, so you can read them at the same time.
Is that what you tell readers to do? Is that what you suggest?
I do. I think if you've already read Powerless, you can absolutely just read Powerful. But I feel like, from what I've heard, because I actually have not done the tandem read, because I don't just go like, I read Powerless so many times when I was editing it, so I have not actually read it through recently. But obviously, when I was writing Powerful, I was referencing Powerless of like, okay, what chapters are going to fit where? Yeah. But I actually haven't read just for pleasure, the two of them together. But from what I've heard, people really, really enjoy the tandem read because it adds more to Powerless and it like fills in some of the Adina gaps, you know?
Yeah. And you have another like love story there.
Yes, and it's so sweet. Which it was a struggle at the beginning. Mac, who's in Powerful, we were not vibing like at all. Okay. And I actually wrote the first 6 chapters and I scrapped them because I was like, something wasn't working. And I guess I hadn't figured out Mac yet. Like he was my trouble boy. I didn't know what to do with him. Yeah. And then I had a little cry as I do. I was like, what am I doing? And then I dried my tears and was like, I know what I need to do. Okay. And I think what changed was I made Mac have like sassy boy syndrome. Like I really wanted him to be like, kind of sarcastic, but not trying to be funny by any means. Like he's not the type of guy who's like gonna say something to try and get you to laugh or try and get a reaction, because that's Kai.
Yes.
But Mac is very much like he's gonna say something in all honesty, but it comes across like funny and very blunt. Yeah. And so it took a minute to figure him out, but then once I did, I like flew through the book and now it's like one of my favorites.
Do you have a favorite book?
Oh, that's so
Whether
hard.
It's like the contents or just like how it was to write it.
I feel like I really love Powerful because I like the message of it too. Like I really wanted to write a story about a main character who wasn't like fighting the bad guys, who wasn't like physically strong and stuff, because we have so many of those in romantasy, which love, and I'm always here for that. Will continue to write like the badass females for sure, but with Adina, it was very much, she was so soft, and I wanted to show that like you can still be like gentle and be strong at the same time. And so I really love that book, but at the same time, fearless, as much as we were not vibing a lot of times. Okay. Lisa and I, just because it was so heavy. Yeah. But I'm really
it is heavy.
Proud of it. It is.
It made me cry. I'm
so sorry.
No. I said this last night. Such a compliment for a young adult romantasy book to like provoke that much twice. I think it was like halfway through and then obviously like near the end too. I was like, what is going on?
I'm so honored. Like that's such a huge compliment.
I don't think a romantasy book has ever made me cry. I'm trying to rack my head right now. I don't know. I also love romantasy so much more in young adult. Like, I'm sorry someone has to say it, because when I'm reading romantasy, I don't want spice.
Exactly, because we want the tension. Yeah. And when you're reading something that you know has spice, it's like they skip over the tension part. Yeah. Because in YA, it's like they can't really do much more.
They can't do anything.
Like, we're getting a little kiss and that's about it.
Yes.
And so because of that, you have to lean so heavily on like the tension and the yearning, instead of just like escalating the situation physically. Yeah. So I personally, like, I'm always gonna eat up a YA because I'm like, they just touched hands. Like, oh my god.
Did you ever? So they don't kiss until book 2. Did you ever contemplate like maybe putting that in Powerless or pushing it?
Yeah. So in Powerless, I knew I did not want them to kiss. Like, I never even wrote a scene of them kissing and like took it out. It was like, I decided from the beginning, because I really wanted the reader to leave feeling satisfied with the romance without their lips ever touching. Like, you know, like I really wanted, like, that was going to be a huge feat for me if they were like, wow, I loved the romance and they didn't even kiss.
Well, that's the thing. Like, one could argue, like, where is the romance if they're not kissing? But like, it's so impactful with the buildup and the tension. And I said this last night and the audience didn't like it, but I was like, I could have waited another book for them to kiss, truthfully.
I appreciate that, because I agree. And the lore with Reckless is that I actually, when I wrote the first draft, their first kiss wasn't until like the end of the book in the pond. And that was what I had. And it was my editors who came to me and they were like, Lauren, you have to make them kiss sooner. And I was like, I don't want to. Like, I really did not want to do that. So the way we both were happy was I put a kiss earlier in the book, but it was like a hateful, like, oh, I hate you, like super intense. And it was like, don't touch me, you know? So I did that to make it feel like their first kiss really was in the pond. Like that was their first like intimate, like sweet kiss, if that makes sense. So I feel like I kind of walked the fine line there of maybe making the readers happy with it actually happening, but then, you know, it not being too soon. Yeah. So, because I'm just like you, I'm like, I could have waited until Fearless.
The slower the burn, the better. Yes, yeah. Exactly. If they kiss before 50%, I'm
exactly. I'm good. Like, well, what now?
What, especially in young adult, I'm like, are they gonna hug for longer?
like, okay, great.
Yeah. Yes. Would you ever consider writing something like spicier?
I would. Yeah. I would consider, as long as my parents swear not to read it. I'd be like, you guys have to sign like a contract, like no reading.
Well, my mom and I share a Kindle account, and oftentimes like I'll have like a spicier book on there, and she's like, oh, what's this? Can I read it? I'm like, for both you and our sakes, please don't.
Literally.
Please don't. Or do it and just don't tell me. Just like go off and read it on your own.
Oh my God. Powerless, I had never intended my parents to read it. Okay. Like they're very much... Like my mom has never read a book like this ever. She reads.
Are they readers?
Not really. Okay. I would say more like informational if they are reading. Oh, like they're not like pleasure readers. And so I was not planning on her reading it. And then one day, like we went out to dinner and she's like, oh yeah, I read Powerless. And I was like, oh no, you didn't. And then I was like, okay, what's the ending then? And she told me the ending. And I was like, oh my God, like you read it. And it was so, I don't know that she's read the other ones. I kind of hope not. Okay. But she was like, yeah, it was good. And I was like, Mom, you don't have to say that. It's okay.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think I would be opening I would be open
to
writing some spice in the future.
Okay.
There's a time and place for sure.
Definitely.
Yes.
Would it be in like romantasy, or would you ever switch genres?
I would like to switch genres like later in my life.
Yeah.
I would be happy to do that, to literary fiction.
Ooh,
I love literary fiction. So I think I would definitely dabble in that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to ask you this at the beginning, but at the beginning of the episode, I like to ask everyone, like, what was the last book they pulled off the shelf? Like, what are you currently reading?
Yes.
But like any lit fic books that you've liked recently?
Yes.
Because I want to go into the genre.
Oh my God. Yes. So I'm in the middle of like 5 books.
Okay.
So I'm like, haven't finished them, but I'm really enjoying them. Obsessed with Olive Blake and V.E. Schwab.
Ooh, I haven't read any of their books, but I've heard so many good things.
They're so good. And they're not quite like lit fic because they write in a fantastical world, but the way they like compile their prose in a sense is very literary fiction feeling. Their writing is so fantastic. So I'm in the middle of Masters of Death by Olive Blake.
Yep.
And then I actually just finished Vicious by V.E. Schwab. And
is that a series?
I believe it's a duology.
Okay.
And it was fantastic. Like so good. But again, it's like set in the world, but it's 2 brothers and they have powers basically. Like they're extraordinary, which clearly I love that vibe. So I was like, I'm going to eat this up. And I did. It was so good. But for true literary fiction, I'm in the middle of The Ministry of Time.
Oh, I have that. I haven't read it yet.
Yes.
That was a book I love Book of the Month. That was my Book of the Month pick.
Yup.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Loving that. Olive Blake's Alone with You in the Ether.
Okay, heard mixed feelings about this one.
Okay.
Because it's just based around 6 conversations.
Is it?
That's what someone told me. And I was like, what?
Oh my God.
I'm confused. And I heard it's like a little bit dark.
It
because
is.
they're both like, they have their own reasons for staying alive.
Right, absolutely.
Okay.
You know what? Now that you say that. Wait, I think it is.
We can fact check that after.
Yeah, and like they do meet, like you only see them interacting a few times.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like a very real kind of heartbreaking love story in a sense. And the writing is phenomenal. Like I have the self-published copy of it. Okay.
Is it like the white cover? Like it's almost blank?
It's like, yeah, it's like very dusty pink. And then it just literally has Alone with You in the Ether, Olive Blake on the bottom. And it's fully annotated. I tabbed all of it. I wrote in it. I feel such a deep connection to that book. And I can't even say why. Like the main character has issues like with her mother. And I love my mom.
Yeah.
Love Mother Mary. Yeah. But like it was so deep to hear like her own struggles and then but also throw a love story in there and like how the 2 characters are broken in their own ways, but they're like trying to make it work. It was fantastic.
You can spoil it for me. Is it a happy ending or no?
It is actually at the end, which I would have liked it to not be, I think. And I thought it wasn't going to be because it and also hope I'm getting this right. I'm like, I haven't read it in about 2 years. So I'm like trying to remember, but I'm almost positive it is a happy ending. But I remember thinking, oh, like this is going to be sad.
Yeah.
But then Olive like surprised me and made it like optimistic.
Okay.
Which I kind of wanted it to crash and burn. I'll be honest. I was like, yes. Like
See,
rooting
I feel
for
like
it.
I need a happy ending, which is why I tend to read romance.
Yeah, because when are they not gonna be together? You know,
that's the thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. And also, I just started a book called Sword Heart.
I don't think.
And I had never heard of it. I saw it at the store and was like, okay. And I just bought it based on vibes. Like the cover was so cute. The synopsis was fun. I was like, okay. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's funny and it's got like some magic aspects and some very medieval feeling. But loving it. Yes. So I'm in like so many books right now. But.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we have some of the listeners submitted like their bookish hot takes that we can like share our thoughts on.
Obsessed.
With the first one being, not every book needs a happy ending. So you're obviously in that. I'm very much.
I'm like, would people be mad at me if I wrote a book that doesn't have a happy ending.
Well, it's a little bittersweet.
It is a little bittersweet for sure.
I'm happy with the ending.
But I have like thoughts in my brain for future things.
Of future books.
Yeah.
On how you want to end them.
Yeah, and how I want to end them. And I'm like,
oh no.
Because I enjoy, people are like, you made me cry. I'm like, oh no. I'm like, no, I definitely did not want that to happen.
No.
So yeah, I'm totally fine with it being sad.
Sad, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just like so used to the couple like ending up together.
Yeah.
Although like there are some romances where I'm like, actually, I think you don't maybe need to get back together.
You guys should not be together.
Yeah. Like, you know, those videos where it's like book couples that definitely broke up after that epilogue. I was
divorced
like, oh, I could name so many right now. Yeah.
Especially in the just like romance genre. And romantasy, I feel like they're kind of trauma bonded.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
Like they went through crazy.
And they're also like, sometimes like you can't get a divorce.
Exactly.
So you actually are stuck
like,
together.
oh, so your souls are like bound together, or they're like, we're mates. You're like, okay, well, can't
is that
argue
how
with
it
that.
is in like the Powerless world?
They're not.
Like, can the marriage break up?
I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay.
Because there was like some. I'm not gonna say anything, but like in Fearless, there's like things that happen. I would say yeah.
Okay.
Because it's not like I'm your mate. Like, you can't go against the bond, you know? Like, he's got his wings, and which eat it up every time, by the way. Obsessed. But it's not like, yeah, I think they definitely can.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Another one. Sometimes I read the ending first to decide if I'm emotionally prepared. Never.
That is.
You could not catch me doing that.
So sorry, I'm going to look to the camera. That is appalling. That is unreal.
Sometimes I unintentionally look up spoilers. I'm never, but like on social media, I'm not looking at the back of the book.
That is, and you know what's crazy is in the last couple of weeks, I've met 2 people who have told me that
they read the back. Or
they read the endings of every single book, and I was like, hey, I don't think I can look at you the same now.
No,
because that is wild.
It ruins the whole thing. I feel like
literally,
I like a surprise at the end. Like, I don't want to know what's coming.
And I feel like if you, because I understand if you're like, I can't handle a sad ending, like it needs to be happy, then like go to a review and be like, is this gonna break my heart? And just get a yes or no. But reading the ending of the book is wild.
Especially in Fearless, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't read the end.
Don't do that. And I'm pretty sure someone told me that they did, and I was like, don't. It like hurts my heart a little bit.
Yeah, no.
But to each their own.
Okay, next one. Dog earring pages is fine.
That's going to be a yes for me.
You do?
I do. I really love when a book looks read.
Okay.
Like, that to me is the biggest show. It's like a huge compliment when someone comes with my own books and it's like beat up and there's tabs and it's written in and the pages are all dog-eared. Like, I love that. I'm like, oh my God, you either loved or hated the book, but it evoked an emotion, you know? So
fair. Do you annotate your own books?
Like these books?
No, sorry, just like when you read. Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
It definitely depends on the book. When I'm reading a romantasy, like I typically don't because I feel like I could get into this, but the writing in a romantasy is so different from the writing in like a literary fiction. Like there's only so much pretty prose you can put in a romantasy when you're in the character's head, especially like first person is difficult because they're not like spewing poetry.
Yeah, no.
Whereas literary fiction a lot of times tends to be third person where the author.
I didn't know that. Okay, so I don't like
hey, I
third
actually might have just
person.
made that up. Who knows?
Interesting.
But the things that I have read, it's typically third person. And then the author really gets to like run wild with the writing. And that's when I tab a lot is like, whoa, that line was so good. Which, not to say that romantasy can't do that.
No, I understand.
I think it's harder.
I like will tab sometimes. I started to get back into it. In truth, I think Fearless is... Let us have a look.
Yes.
Well, she's half tabbed. And then I just like got too invested in the story. And I was like, because it takes... This is going to sound like I'm so lazy. It takes time to pick up the annotation tabs and put it down and like get it on the edge of the book properly.
See, those are gorgeous. My tabs are really ugly. They come out like an inch from the back.
Oh no.
Because I like the feel on my fingers.
I like it. You can barely see. I just want to see the color. And then the color doesn't correspond. It corresponds like with the cover of the book. But in here, these are just like random things.
No, that's so fun.
What did I? Yeah. I can't say that. I was going to like pull a line that's going to totally spoil it. No, that's a spoiler. Damn
the
it.
Whole book, you can't even open it up.
For audio listeners right now, I have Fearless in my hands and I'm looking at a quote that I can say, but none of these are going to work.
So sorry.
Anyways,
did not make that easy on you.
No.
But I love seeing the tabs. Like those are so pretty. My tabs are really ugly.
I can't believe. No, I'm more concerned about the fact that they're an inch out.
They're really bad. I don't know why, but I love to like. I'll just walk around the house like rubbing my fingers,
like making music.
I'm like obsessed with the feel of it.
Okay.
And also my tabs are like neon colors. Like they're not relaxing. I just like get them from Walmart. I'm like, okay. I would love to get the really cute like jewel tone.
Yeah, they're on Amazon. They're like,
to do that.
I think I got a bunch for like $20.
I should do that because I'm spending too much money on these little packs. It's like $4 each. It's a waste of money.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. We've covered actually so many of these people submitted. Hardcovers are overrated. Hardcovers are overrated.
I don't think they're overrated.
Who's overrating them?
Yeah. They're perfectly rated.
I agree. Hardcovers look better on the shelf.
They do.
And they look better if I like want to put the book like cover facing.
Exactly.
I would say.
For sure.
Okay. Being able to predict the ending means that an author has done their job correctly.
Ooh. You know what?
Huh.
I'm going to say it depends.
It definitely depends.
Yes. Because I definitely think if you don't predict the ending, there should be foreshadowing that a reader can return back to and be like, oh,
I agree.
Here it is. If it's completely out of the blue of like, and there's no evidence.
Yeah.
I think that is not my favorite personally.
Yeah.
As long as there's evidence, I'm happy. And I think if the author wants you to predict the ending, they're gonna do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Like in Reckless, it's so funny because I was shocked by how many people
I didn't get it.
I
had no idea it was coming.
Which like I'm glad and I'm happy. I'm like, okay, good surprise. But then there were people that was like, oh, I knew it was coming. It was so predictable. I was like, because I wanted you to know.
Oh my God. So I really feel okay. I will say like I think it was the like leading up to it, like the last like 5 to 10 pages, I was like, tell me this is not where this is going.
Yes. Like do not, to anyone who didn't predict the end, like don't feel bad at all. I'm like actually happy.
Yeah.
That was one of those things where like Kit talks about like he puts the box on the table and he's like, you know, all this stuff and he has that. And I wanted it to be like, some people are going to get this, some people aren't. But the people who don't can look back and be like, oh my God, the box was right there.
Yeah.
That's what they were talking about. You know, like I wanted a trail that you could trace back so it's not out of the blue, you know?
I love and like what I've been reading a lot of thrillers lately. I like an aha moment where I'm like, oh my God, how did I not see that? Yes. I don't like I'm confused.
Exactly.
Because do you read thrillers or no?
I'm trying to get into it because for future things, I really want to mix fantasy with thriller.
I love a thriller. Yes. So I recently read like Never Lie by Frida McFadden.
I've heard
my favorite thriller of all time.
Okay.
I got to the twist at the end and I was like shocked. But like I was like, this could have been predicted, but you couldn't.
Exactly.
Like you just didn't know. But then The Silent Patient, I got to the twist and I was like, I don't get it.
Huh?
I was just like this. I was like, okay, cool. When I'm just like, yeah, like this couldn't have been predicted, but it also doesn't make sense. Like none of the clues leading up to this make sense.
And that is like my worst fear as an author. I'm like, I always want things to go back. Even like Fearless, there's a lot happening at the ending, like a lot of things being unraveled. But I was like, I tried my absolute hardest to exactly show you where stuff came from. Like Peyton was recalling things from Powerless and from Reckless and things like that. And there's more to say in the series. Yeah. Like there's more happening. So more gaps will be filled in for sure.
Okay.
But that's definitely something like I was thinking about in Fearless where I was like, okay, I need to make sure the reader is satisfied. Everything's falling into place.
Yeah, it did.
So,
oh my God. And I just like, I love fantasy series and just being like I feel so content. Like I just like loved how the story went because I read Powerless so long ago that I was but like it felt the same throughout. Yes. Like I will recommend this book series till the end of time.
Thank you.
Okay, last one. Last hot take. I will not buy a book if there are real people on the cover.
Oh, that's a little harsh. Like not buying a book. But I do get it. I get it because some of them are really, really bad.
If the man is shirtless, there is no way in hell I'm picking that book up, go checking out at the cashier, and then bringing that book home and leaving it for my family to see. Are you crazy? At
this point, I'm getting out my Kindle. Like, no one is seeing that.
See, this is the thing. Yes, if it's like a little bit of an interesting cover or the title in general is just like, I don't really want people asking me questions about this, it's going to be a Kindle read. Definitely. Which
is sad because I bet like I don't think an author wants to hear that of like your cover is so ugly. I can't even like bring it outside.
How much of a say does an author get in their cover?
That's a great question. From what I know, it really depends on where you are and kind of the influence you have. Like if your books are selling better, the publisher might be more inclined to listen to what you're saying and things like that. Thankfully, Simon & Schuster has been so incredible, and I have been very much a part of the cover design. Like they came to me because obviously Powerless, they're like, we're not changing it at all, and I was like, thank you, because I worked really hard on that cover, and that was the vision that I had, and I can't imagine it being different. And so for Reckless, they were like, what are we thinking? And I told them, I was like, we're gonna do an arrow, we're gonna have the poppies, and I told them exactly what I wanted, and they came back to me with drafts, and we would talk about it, and I'd be like, can we tweak this or that? And so they very much listen and care about what I have to say, but I know for some authors that's not the case for sure. Some authors it's like, this is what your cover is, and they're like, all right.
It's tough when you have the real people on it though. But I think we're slowly moving out of that.
And now it's cartoon people. That's what it is, which is cute.
I like
it.
Although it's so misleading sometimes when it's like cutesy like little cartoons and then you're like, oh, okay.
And then you open it up and I'm like, that's what they're doing? Like it's crazy. It is very misleading.
I know. I think I'm kind of like overdose on spice these days. I like, which is why I love a YA romantasy.
Yeah.
Because you just get like, you get the same tension that you're getting in a rom-com minus like, they can have like one sex scene and then I'm like, cool, we're done.
Exactly.
I don't need any more actually.
I always think it's the lead up that is way better.
The build up is so much better.
Like smut scene. Yeah. Way better.
Yeah.
Because when you're actually in it, you're like, okay. It almost feels wrong. I'm like, guys, I don't think I'm supposed to be watching this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, yo. And then obviously like, especially when a book is heavily leaning on smut, it's like, it just feels like the same scene over and over again. You're like, they've already done that. Okay, yep.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I agree.
Okay. Well, the whole reason we're here is to talk about Fearless. So let's get into it. Can you give us, this is all going to be spoiler free, but can you give us a rundown on like what is going on in Fearless after the cliffhanger you left us with in Reckless?
Yes. Okay. So Peyton is faced with a question. All right. And whether she's going to be selfless for Ilya or she's going to be selfish for Kai, basically. Like she's faced with this question and she chooses to be selfless for Ilya. And basically, obviously the elites don't want an ordinary ruling over them.
Yeah.
So she gets thrown back into her own personal trials to prove her, oh my God, what is it? Benevolence, bravery,
3 Bs.
And brutality, which was like not an Easter egg, but which was talked about in Reckless.
Yeah.
So then she gets thrown into these trials and she has to survive. And we really see Peyton like come into herself. And this is like, she's so strong in this book and we've kind of watched her go on this journey.
Yeah.
And then there's like so much tension because she can't be with Kai.
There's a lot of sneaking around in this book, which was so fun because in Reckless, that book, like just for the vibes, I was like, this is so fun.
Thank you.
It's so good because they were attached with the chain.
With the chain.
For a lot of that book. And then being in Fearless where they're like separated, but they're like, I was like,
it's like the opposite.
Oh, this is fun.
Exactly.
Yes.
So in Reckless, it was close proximity and they didn't want to be together.
Right.
Like, of course they did. But then in Fearless, it's like they're not allowed to be together, but they want to be. So there's a lot of sneaking around and just like more like longing glances and like stealing moments. So there's tension and like action and so many twists and turns.
Yeah.
But it was so fun to write. Terrifying, but really fun. It felt older to me. Like I felt like I had aged it up a little bit, like darker and maybe more mature. And yeah, I really did have a good time. I was stressed, but I had a great time.
When did you actually like start writing this book?
Yeah, I have notes because I went back and looked. I was like, let me look through my scribbles.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was around like February of 2024. So last... It's been over a year. So when I started it, and I mean, I wrote the book around 3-ish months. That's my typical how long it takes me.
That seems quick. Is that normally how long it, especially for a book that thick?
And again, I'm new to all of this, so I don't even know. But I want to say it's pretty, like, it's a quick turnaround. Yeah. Decently so. But when I originally turned it in, I wasn't even really finished with it. The ending, I was like, editors help me. Like I wanted them to read it, get their thoughts, and then I took it back and I did some rewrites.
But you knew how you knew how you wanted it to end.
Yes.
It was just kind of about like how you got there.
Exactly. Like I switched around, which I won't say, but I switched around a few things towards the end of like how things escalated and went down. I switched that around because I wasn't happy with what I did the first time. And so I gave it to my editors and I was like, what do you guys think? And then we had like a super long Zoom call after that of us just yapping like, okay, let's do this and let's tweak this. And then I took it back and did rewrites for about a month. And after that, I was really happy with it. And then it went to copy edits because there's like 5 different editing things. Went to copy edits and then I got it back, worked more on it. So I would say, I mean, we worked on this book right up until publication pretty much. And not because it needed it. Like it was ready. Like it wasn't like we were throwing things in there willy-nilly. Like it was ready to go. But I could edit a book. I think every author could edit their book until the end of time. Like you can always find things to make it better. And that's the hard part is like knowing when to stop. And so that's my thing is like, I will just keep going through and being like, oh, can we add this adjective right here? And
are
like,
you a perfectionist?
Yeah. But I will say only when it comes to like creative endeavors. And I'm not a perfectionist in the rest of my life.
Like, give me an example of something that you don't care about.
Like, I'm trying to think. For instance, I guess like my house, like my apartment.
Oh, okay.
I guess that's not really a perfectionist thing, but
no, it kind of is
clean. I'm like, yeah, like it's never dirty, but it'll be messy. You know, like I'm not a dirty person. I am a little messy. Yeah. But that's one of those things where I'm not type A in that sense. I'm just like, okay, I'm living like whatever.
Yeah.
But when it comes to something that is going out into the world, and once the book is out, it doesn't belong to you anymore. Like in a sense, it kind of belongs to the readers and like it's theirs to decide what they think of it. You know, they're going to say what they want about it, which is a beautiful thing. Like I love that I can share that. But because of the pressure, I'm like, I need to keep editing until I think it's perfect. And it's never going to be perfect.
But
so
you
just stop it.
Genuinely. Oh, these books. And they were honestly like, the series fits so well as a whole, but it was also like each book was like a different vibe.
I love that you said that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
Because I didn't like, you don't want a trilogy or a duology to feel like just like one long book.
Right.
You want different books. You want them to feel like different books that are all interconnected.
Exactly.
And what you had mentioned earlier about like Reckless being like forced proximity to Fearless being like we can't be seen together was such a good like flow through of Kai and Peyton's relationship.
Thank you.
Jen,
I appreciate that. Because I know Reckless, people have some mixed opinions on her, which is their right. Readers, that is their right to say what they want about a book. But Reckless, I was so nervous for because I knew it was smaller.
Yeah.
And it's a different vibe. It feels different from Powerless.
Yeah.
And I talk to my editors. I'm always freaking out before a book comes out.
Okay.
Just because I get so nervous. I'm
yeah,
like,
totally
what if they
fair.
hate it, you know? And so I called my editor. I never stop bothering her. Like, we're always talking. She's amazing. And I was like, yeah, I was like, what if they don't like it? Like, it feels so different from Powerless. And she was like, Lauren, each of these books have a different heartbeat. And she goes, Powerless was fast and chaotic and all over the place. You know, it was really intense. Whereas Reckless is like the calm before the storm.
Okay.
And whether people agree or not, Reckless is so necessary for Fearless.
Oh my God, yeah.
Peyton and Kai have to repair this relationship and kind of go on their own and have their little adventure together.
Yeah.
And they discover some things along the way that lead into Fearless. But it's really important that their relationship is solid and like back on track in order to step into Fearless.
Yes.
So they definitely do feel different, like each of them.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Powerless was very romantasy-esque, and then Reckless leaned into the romance even more, and then Fearless kind of flipped back into it felt more
Fearless was
heavy.
fun. It was. Yeah, it was good. I like the heartbeat analogy because Fearless had my heart like skipping because I was like, oh my God, I don't know what
That's what I wanted.
What's coming. But that one was fun. Like it was fun to, this is not, you've mentioned this before, but they go to the Shallows and the Scorches.
And the Scorches.
That was fun. Like that was like, because I love, at my core, I love fantasy and everything. So it was fun to like get some world building in there that I understood.
Obsessed.
So yeah. How was it like to do the audio recording for the prologue?
It was honestly one of the coolest things I've ever done. I genuinely, my team came to me and they were like, would you want to read the prologue? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm such a theater kid. Like I really if you can't tell. And so I got to go into a studio and sit down in the room, and I got to wear the headphones. I had like my sticky iPad. I set it all up and was like, okay, here we go. And there was a producer on Zoom, and so she was listening in. And I was really nervous because it's kind of vulnerable, like acting in a way. Like it really is just reading. I mean, I didn't do anything insane by any means, but I drop my voice a little bit and I make it sound more better. Yeah. Just try to make it instead of me being like, this is what we're, you know. Yeah. So I really tried to fit the cadence, if that makes sense. And so I was really nervous, but I got into it and I was so excited. And the producer was so nice and she gave me so many compliments. And she was like, you should do this. I was like, stop, don't say that. So I would 100% go back and do it again.
Yeah.
And do it better. I think I can do a better job, truly.
This is the perfectionist. Literally. I need to go back and I need to edit it and I need to do it better. Yes.
Because I love voices. I'm a voice person. Like I will just whip out random like octaves in my voice, random voices. And so I really feel like I could do better. I was just really nervous. Yeah. So hopefully there's an opportunity I can go back.
Okay.
Try it again. I loved it because when you're acting in theater, like I didn't do anything spectacular, but in high school I was in drama and all this stuff, but you're acting with your whole body. Like you have to react to other people. It's like everyone's watching you. Whereas with voice acting, you can just sit there and you don't have to worry about the physical part of acting, which makes it so much easier. And I was like, this
no one's
is so
looking
fun.
at you. It's just your voice.
Exactly.
Which I would love to record an audiobook one day.
You should.
But I feel like it would just like take a long time.
And I'm like, I kind of wish, as much as I loved having the people in the studio there to help, I was like, guys, can you plug your ears actually? So I can really get into it.
I used to be like that, even like when I was recording the early episodes of this podcast. And even though we're only like, I think 10 episodes in or something, the early episodes, I was like, no one look at me. No one.
Exactly. Even when I'm like filming things, I'm like, don't look at me. Cause it's just like, you know, it's not that I'm different on camera. I'm still me, but it's like you do kind of, okay, guys, you know what I mean? Like it's like the influencer, like, thanks so much for being here. You know, that sort of thing.
It's also like, okay, like me just saying like, okay, I'm going to do that again. Like I'm just like, sometimes I have to, when I'm recording in my room, sometimes I'm saying things because I'm a perfectionist. I'm going to say the same line genuinely. Like I'm still me, but I'm going to say it 6 or 7 times.
I totally understand because I'll get like the foreign rights will need videos for like, hey, Ireland wants this video. And I'm like, okay.
Fun, okay.
So they'll send over like descriptions of like, here, this is the basic premise. Like tell them that it's out now and they can whatever. And so there was one time where I had to record. It was a really long one. Okay. And I kept forgetting what I needed to say. And I also hate editing videos. So I'm like, I'm going to do it all in one go. So I'm sitting there. It's like this paragraph. I'm like, okay. And you tell them this and then this, looking at the camera. And I had done it a dozen times. And at the end, I would mess up. And I just like, I'm not going to say it, but I'd curse like so loud and be like, oh, and I was so upset. And then I'd be like, hi everybody, and I go right back into it, and then I accidentally sent the uncut version over to my people in the UK, and they were so sweet. They were like, do you need us to edit this for you? And I was like, I promise. I really didn't want them to think I'm like this fake human of like, she's like really nasty, but she puts on this front. I was like, I'm so sorry. I was so tired and I had done that so many times. Yes. And she's like, it's okay.
When you do it so many times and then you get to the end and you're just like, then you mess it up. You're like, my day's ruined.
Literally, like, I'm still being me, but I get so frustrated with myself and you're like, oh, I gotta do it again. And then you restart. But I feel like it's so interesting to see how content has evolved. Because even though I haven't been making content for that long, I've been a consumer of it. Yeah. And I feel like the casual, like long form, just talking is really in. Yeah. So it's nice to be like, okay, we don't need to edit ourselves too heavily to be perfect. Because people like to see the person, you know?
Even when I'm consuming content these days, like I want to know who the person is.
Exactly.
Like I'm going for, like I'm watching smaller creators these days and like the bigger influencers because I'm just like, you just seem a little bit more genuine.
Exactly.
And you're not like trying to put on a front and you're like, I feel like I'm looking at a human being. Right. Instead of an influencer.
Right. They're not as like polished. Yeah. And like you just want to see the person behind the camera, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so it was fun to record the audio.
It was so fun. I would do it again. And I'm kind of hoping. I'm like, I hope I did well enough that they're going to ask me back.
Yes.
So it was amazing.
Now, speaking, you said you didn't like editing. Mm-hmm. You used to have a podcast. Yes. What happened to her?
It crashed and burned. It was called Oversharing is Caring.
Which is such a good title for it.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I had a different title. I think it was like originally like Under the Sun was what I wanted to do because just talking about like everything under the sun. Yeah. And I Googled it to make sure that no one else had it. And there was someone that had it. And I was like, oh, cool. All right. So then I went to Oversharing is Caring because I wanted it to be an outlet that was not necessarily book related. Like I wanted me to be able to go and just talk about my life and books. Yeah. That was just my personal preference, what I wanted. So I was like, Oversharing is Caring. I'll just talk about whatever. And I did 2 episodes in my bedroom with like this horrible mic that kept breaking and like an online like software thing. I'm all by myself trying to figure it out. Yeah. And I hated editing. So I just did one straight like hour cut and all the
wait, so you talked for an hour straight by yourself?
Yeah, I think they're like 50 minutes.
Wow.
But yeah, I just talked for an hour straight, no editing, nothing. I was like, all right, good enough. And again, just like the self-publishing, I'm Googling like, how do I get this out on Spotify? Like, how do I put this on Apple Music? Like, I had no idea what to do. Kind of fumbled my way through it, figured it out, and I did 2 episodes, and my mic broke, and I was like, forget it. I'm not going to do it again. But I am like, it is something that I really do want to start up again because I love yapping.
Well, it's just like so fun to sit here and chat.
Exactly. So I'm like, I just need a better mic and maybe like, this is incredible. I walked in and was like, this is so cute. Cool. It's adorable. And like, I think I just need more structure. Yeah. If I'm in my bedroom, it's just not going to get done, you know?
I know. Well, that's why it's nice to come here. Like, we brought our like fun pillows
so cute.
Yeah, it's green.
Yeah. Obsessed.
Yeah. Thanks. Okay, so go back to Fearless a little bit. Because we went a little bit.
We did. Sorry.
No. It's my fault because I asked too many questions. We went from the prologue to what were we just talking about? No idea.
Podcast?
Yeah,
stuff?
that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite scene that you'd like to write in Fearless without spoiling?
Yes. I love, in general, my favorite thing to write in a fantasy world is the mundane moments.
Like the thumb war?
The thumb war in Powerless was actually added because I just wanted to spend more time with them. Yeah. I was like, let me do this.
Who wouldn't?
Right. They're just so fun. And it ended up being my favorite because I love those moments where a reader can actually relate. Because I don't know if anyone can relate to being in like these intense trials and like climbing, a mountain and the snakes and all that stuff. No. But when it comes to like those cute, soft moments, I love that because I feel like it breaks down their walls more and there's like no fight or flight. It's just them as characters. And so in Fearless, I think my favorite, no spoilers.
Yeah.
But I think it's a scene where Kai holds Peyton's shoes.
Okay.
And I just like, and it's not even anything profound. Like it's nothing insane. I just had so much fun writing it. And also it's one of those really sweet human moments between the two of them. And it like shows how deeply he cares for her. Like it's like when someone knows what your favorite drink is and they just show up like, here's your coffee order. And you're like, oh my God. Like it's just really sweet. And it shows that someone knows you.
Yeah.
And Kai like looking for her shoes and holding them for her was like kind of that version of intimacy, if that makes sense. So I loved that scene.
How did you feel like writing the ending? Or like, how did you feel about just like finishing this trilogy overall? Something that you had started when you were so young.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I was just so honored that I even got the chance to. Cause like I said, I didn't know if Powerless was going to crash and burn and like no one was going to read it. And even still, I think I would have finished the series. It would have been harder because I'd be like, no one likes this, but I really do try and write for myself at the end of the day and like for the passion that I have for writing. So I think I would have finished it, but it would not have been the same. So writing the ending was very bittersweet.
Yeah.
And I typically am not an emotional writer. Like I like writing powerful. I'm just like, like deadpan, like no thoughts. I think because I'm just really invested and I'm like trying to get the emotion onto the page. And so for Fearless, I wasn't super emotional until the ending when I wrote like the epilogue. I was like, wow, I can't, like this is it for them. And obviously, like I said, there's more to say within the series.
Yeah.
But for the trilogy, like this is what 18-year-old me set out to do. And now I'm finishing it. And I feel like I'm making her proud. I'm acting like that was 20 years ago. That was like literally like 4 years ago.
But still, I feel like you changed so much from like 18 to now because you and I are only a year apart. Like 18-year-old me was like first year university. I was like, I don't even want to, that was a different person.
Exactly.
So.
And the way I wrote was different. I feel like I've just grown a lot.
Yeah.
And the stories that I like to read has changed. Powerless was like chock full of tropes and just like everything I loved when I was 18. And then Reckless felt a little different. I didn't use as many tropes. It was more like intimate in their relationship. And then Fearless was like intense and felt a little more mature. So they really are like a time capsule of who I was at that age and how I wrote and like what I wanted to read. Because at the end of the day, I'm always just writing what me as a reader enjoys. Because I'm not gonna
Why wouldn't you?
Exactly. I'm like, I'm not going to write something that I don't like or write something to appease an audience or hoping it'll make sales. Like that's never been the goal. I've just been very fortunate that people like Powerless.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really bittersweet.
Yeah. Now, can you say what's coming next? What are you working on now?
Okay, so I just wrapped up a draft for the next novella.
Okay.
So I'm on the road for a while. I'm going to be fitting in some editing.
Oh my God, yeah. So you have a lot of travel coming up.
Can
you give us a rundown on what's going on? Like where are you going?
I can. I am going to be... Obviously, I'm in Canada now.
You're here in Toronto. Yes.
So fun. Not too far from home.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be over in the UK and hitting kind of London and some Ireland stops. And then I'm coming home. And then I'm going back over to Europe and doing some things over there. And then I'm coming home. And then I'm going to Australia.
Which is awesome.
So excited. And I think by the time this is out, that'll be announced and everything.
Oh, it's not announced right now?
Maybe it is.
Okay, we'll have a look.
Yeah, we'll have a look.
This episode is coming out in a couple weeks. So I think you're good.
Yeah, we're fabulous. Yeah. So I'll be in Australia. So exciting.
Oh my God.
A lot of travel. So I'll be working on edits amidst that.
Okay.
And then I have some future things planned. I have a lot of delusions in my brain happening.
Now, I know you can't say much on it, but Powerless got picked up for an adaptation.
It did.
Would you do a cameo in it?
Yes.
You would, okay.
I would love to. I'm literally like, you can kill me off. I don't care. Like,
do you have any preference on like what you would want? If like in your dream world, if you got a cameo in Powerless?
Oh, I mean, I could be one of like the creepy sights that is just like, like just staring at the contestants like running around in their white robes. I'm like, that would be me.
Really? Okay.
I would eat that up. Or like, I mean, I could just be someone on loot, you know, like I would be happy with literally anything.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I'm gonna try and be as involved as I possibly can and everything, because I know what the girlies want and I want to deliver. So wherever they want me, I'll be there.
Okay, amazing. Well, we can't wait for it. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Congratulations on Fearless.
Thank you.
It's incredible. And good luck on all of your upcoming travel.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Oh my God. Well, I'm going to come to Michigan too.
Yes.
Because it's not far. It's like
it's not
3-4 hours.
Yeah.
A drive. Yeah.
Exactly. So you have to meet my cats.
Great. Okay.
We'll make that happen.
Okay. Amazing. And we'll go back to Chick-fil-A. Or we'll go to Nando's.
We'll go to Nando's, which we don't have in Michigan.
Really? That's why you guys
pick
were
it
like
up here and then you'll bring it.
That's fine. I'll wait 40 minutes for chicken.
Yep.
That's okay. Anyways, yeah. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you guys for listening to Off the Shelf, and we will see you next Thursday.
Okay. Yay!
Yay!